Sports Money brings you back the PGA coverage for the 2025 calendar year. We're down to the FedEx Cup. The playoffs are here. We've got a shortened field. Top guys made the cut. We're down to a 70-man setup this week, Jeff, and we've got ourselves maybe a battle shaping up. There's quite a bit on the line, despite the fact that it's not just the playoffs in the FedEx St.Judes Championship this week, but Ryder Cup. We talked about this the last video we did. Ryder Cup players on the line as well. There's bubble players out there right now. We've got some guys that are trying to make their way through up to the top 50. This will be the top 50 that make the cut and move on to the next round. So we're going to do things a little different, Jeff. Before we get there, tell us what's going on. How you been doing?
Doing good. As you had mentioned, a shortened field here should make for some pretty exciting storylines, I guess, throughout the week. And as you got over there, the weather should certainly play a factor. It's got to be one of the hottest weeks of the year. So the heat might play a factor for some of these boys that aren't necessarily playing in Florida year round. But I'm looking forward to it. Should be a good tournament.
Yeah, so I mentioned there's a number of players that are, call it bubble players this week. We'll talk about the top 10. I'll just rapid fire JT Poston, Kit Kurdiama, Bud Colley, Joe Highsmith, Aaron Ray, Johnny Vegas, Max Greiserman let me down last week. Stephen Geiger, Mackenzie Hughes, and Tony Finau are those top 60 players on the outside looking in for this next week. We'll see if they make our cards. We know, as you mentioned, it's going to be hot. Should be favorable conditions, though. The greens should be firm. We should see a couple things going on here with this track. Undulating fairways. That means the ball is going to either be above or below. And anybody that's a regular golfer knows that's going to make the ball take some interesting flight. Maybe it moves it left. Maybe it moves it right. And you'll have to counter for that. There's a lot of water on this track too, Jeff. Plenty of hazards. As I was looking at it kind of seemed like it profiled a little bit more like one of them links courses when it comes to the types of hazards and the undulating fairways. But we're going to do things different, as I mentioned at the top of the show. We're going to go into some different betting styles here. We're going to go some tournament groupings. There are 6 groupings of players. We're looking over at DraftKings groups A through groups F. Jeff and I are going to rotate. Jeff taking group A, me B, Jeff C, etc. We're going to pick one of these players. And, a lot of this comes down to 2 things. One, we know Scotty Scheffler's in the field. This guy's a monster and a big favorite down to that plus 220. We talked about him a couple weeks ago. If you put $100 on this guy every week to win the tournament, you're barely up any money overall. So we want to try to fade this guy, but we're going to finish it off and give you guys 2 of our outright winners that we like for this track as well. Again, a 70-person field. You're going to find these options in tournament groupings, group betting, tournament groups. Look at your books and see what they're called, but we're going to pop it off. Jeff's got the group A, the FedEx Jude Championship. It pops off Thursday. Jeff's Group A matchup consists of 5 players: Scotty Scheffler, Tommy Fleetwood, Ludwig Aberg, Xander Schauffele, and Justin Thomas. Jeff, the floor is yours. Kick us off with Group A.
I'm a little disappointed I drew the short straw and got Group A because, as you know, I do not like to take Scotty Scheffler week in, week out. And unfortunately, he's minus 140, the biggest favorite on the card. Go figure, especially in this group. So I went a little differently here. I'm going to put probably a quarter unit on Xander Schauffele at plus 500. Again, I'm not trying to give out a Scotty Scheffler. I do think Scotty's going to get it done, but if anybody in that group has a shot outside of him, it's going to be Xander Schauffele at plus 500. So I'm going to put a quarter unit on him for the Group A matchups.
You're not going to tune in here to hear us talk about Scotty Scheffler. You do that at your own demise, but we'll roll on to Group B's. Matty Fitzpatrick, Victor Hovland, Sammy Burns, Colin Morikawa, and Patrick Cantlay round out this top 5 matching. And I'm going to go to our guy, Matty Fitzpatrick. I talked about this guy. He's been in a couple of my cards over the last couple of weeks. And yeah, a couple of things going on. Top 20. He's been in 5 straight tournaments. This guy's finished in the top 24 of them in the top 10, including that tournament last week at the Wyndham Championship. And I think this is a guy that's got quite a few things going in his direction. He's got some Southwind experience, 3 top 6 finishes and 6 appearances out there as well. So very capable of punching his ticket. Nice little price tag here for our guy, my guy, Matty Fitzpatrick. And this price tag's plus 280. He's the favorite in this grouping, but again, a plus 280 to kick it on, Jeff. Talk to us about Group C.
Yeah, Group C, we got Russell Henley, we got Sepp Straka, we got Cameron Young, Ben Griffin, and Corey Connors. All guys that I've played top 20s, top 10s pretty much throughout the year, and they've managed to do pretty well for me. This is kind of a crapshoot. I think anybody in this group could get it. I do like Russell Henley. I have him in a couple of different spots, and I think he's going to probably come out on top this week. You got Ben Griffin, who needs these points. You got Cameron Young, who also needs these points. I think Corey Connors is pretty much out of it at this point. But, give me Russell Henley in Group C at plus 260.
The Russell Henley action for our guy, MMA Jeff here. Again, keeping it moving, guys. We've got Group D. We'll roll on here for my next selection. Group D consists of Hideki Matsuyama, former winner. This guy won here just a year ago, Hideki Matsuyama. Keegan Bradley. Interesting note for Keegan Bradley. He talked about this last week. He's not just going to auto bid himself into this. Even though he's a captain, he's not just going to auto bid himself into the Ryder Cup. So right now he sits in that top 10-ish position, trying to look his way in. I believe it was the top 5 that are going to make this thing, top 6. I can't recall offhand. In any event, Robert McIntyre's in this. Harry English and the local out of nowhere guy, Chris Gotterup, round out that top 5 setting. Group D battles, and this was a very tricky one for me. This is probably one of my favorite setups here because they're all great price tags. I mean, it's hard. Obviously, the winner is going to be the right way, but it's hard to go any other. And I got to look at a couple different guys. I'm going to put one of them in my overall winners. I like Chris Gotterup here, though. Plus 360. Yeah, we talked about his Scottish Open. Talked about his British Open, a.k.a. the Open. He flies back stateside. Maybe he got a little jet lagged as he went out there. But look, clearly shit to bet. He goes off to the 3M, and he finishes for a top 10 finish out there. This guy's got all the motivation in the world. He is sitting there, very much a position to strike. He wants to get himself qualified for this first time and maybe be a Ryder Cup guy as well. So a plus 360 price tag for Chris Gotterup, Jeff. Before you move on, lots of different ways for us to play these spots that we're giving you guys some great price tags, Jeff. Do you ever do round robins?
I used to do those. I don't really play in that. I haven't done one in probably about 2 years now. I'm a fan of them, but I generally bet it throughout the week as well. So by the time I start to finish 4 days of golf, and I'm generally wrapped up pretty heavy. So I don't do the round robins anymore. How about you?
Every so often. I was thinking about that as we were looking at this card the other day, talking about some of these golf matchups with 6 rounds and just trying to pick, one player per. If you set it up, and anybody that's not familiar with round robin betting, it's basically you picking your spots, you're picking your selections, and then you're telling the book to give you a designated number of parlays, and they'll mix it up so that it covers all the bases out there. If you have 6 players and you want to do a 2-man parlay, then they'll put all 6 of those guys in the various 2-man parlays to cover it, 3-man parlays, 4-man parlays. But I thought it was a timely consideration considering we're only given these 6 players, not the top 20s and top 10s that we traditionally did. You can certainly play these guys as such, but might be an interesting way to attack it. Maybe group a couple, 2 or 3 of these guys that you like on your own in your group bettings out there and see what the books can come together to give you a shot to make some big scores. When we're talking about price tags in the plus 300s and plus 350s, they can certainly pay out nice, Jeff. But look, Group E is yours. 2 group selections left. We'll give you guys our outright winners as well. Bring us into Group E. You've got Jordan Spieth, Maverick McNeely, Harry Hall, JJ Spawn, and what do you want to call this guy? Recent celebrity, Wyndham Clark, sitting there at plus 360. How you going at this one?
I think Wyndham's got too much going on after he beat that locker up, and he got all the flack for it. Good for him being passionate, but I think that might have screwed his head up a little bit. I was on Harry Hall the last couple of weeks. I feel like I've been on him a lot more recently, but he's actually seems to be taking a little bit of a dip in his gameplay or his play all around. And I think Jordan Spieth, I think he's got a lot riding on this to push himself into the Ryder Cup. I think he's probably going to need 2 of these 3 victories in order to actually get a shot at the Ryder Cup. I'm going to roll with Maverick McNeely in this one, the Group E winner at plus 320. I think Maverick's been having a pretty solid run at it, and he's another one who needs these points. And I can see him finding his way across the finish line here.
Maverick McNeely action. Group F brings us home for the top 6. These are group betting. Certainly have plenty of different ways to play, and we talked about round robins. Consider these players that we're reading off. Every book's a little bit different. If you don't have these golf matchups, maybe look head to head. And when you see a guy like Aaron Ray versus a Shane Lowry or Jake Knapp, Daniel Berger, or Jason Day, keep in mind the guy I like in this spot here is Aaron Ray. He's a plus 250 price tag. He's the odds-on favorite in this group at plus 250. So I think it's a really fun way to play it right now. Why do I like this guy? Well, he's had some significant or some series success here at this track. He's been battling. He's got some great starts in the first 2 rounds of a various number of tournaments the last 2-3 months. He ranks number 55 right now. So you got a guy that's motivated to try to get into that top 50, make himself to the next round of this FedEx Cup. He's not too far behind. Literally, he's about 38, 39 points behind JT Poston to climb into that 51st position, if not better. And at a plus 250 price tag, I think there's a lot of opportunity here. A lot of great guys, a lot of great names in this grouping as well for price tags. But I like Aaron Ray to move us into our outright bets, Jeff, here. What do we got? How are you going to try to go and take the big score? I know it's not going to be Scotty Scheffler. Talk to us about your outright winners.
No, it certainly won't be Scheffler. I'm not saying he's not going to win it, but I certainly won't be putting my money on him. I'm going to roll with the same guy that I picked for Group C, Russell Henley. I got Russell at a 30 to 1 for the outright win. I think he could get it done. I think he's probably going to have a hot start out there, so I might even look to play him at 35 to 1 for the outright or first round leader. I'm sorry, but outright leader Russell Henley plus 3,000 for me. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at a couple different spots that I like here. I'm going to go to Harry English. I talked about the Chris Gotterup matchup, and Chris Gotterup at plus 360. I like him to win that round, but I can't dismiss Harry English. A little bit older, a little bit more the elder statesman. Is he having his second wind, if you will? He's won here before. Granted, it's been over 10 years. The thing I like here, I mentioned the undulation, balls being above or below your feet. I mentioned the water. Where's the biggest factor that somebody can make an impact? It's the iron game, right? So being able to control and have the old steady Eddie out there. He's been a streaky putter, if that. But here's the other factor. 5th in the field in strokes gained over the last 3 months, despite his situation and how things have positively or negatively been going for him out there. I got to take a little Harry English. I think this is a good opportunity for him to go out there and try to sneak the flag. He's around 45 to 1. So I think there's a really reasonable shot to take a whack with this guy. And that doesn't mean there's not several other players that might make honorable mention here. But again, they're playing for this tournament. Moreover, they're trying to win the FedEx. So those motivation factors that we talked about are big. Certainly, you can't go wrong with guys like Colin Morikawa. Keegan Bradley, he ranks 7th, is where Keegan Bradley ranks out there, but 10th in the Ryder Cup standing. So there's got to be some motivation for Keegan, Justin Thomas, just a few guys to name in this field. But that being said, Jeff, any closing thoughts? Tell them what's going on and where they can find you.
Yeah, I actually heard an interesting stat. I have to fact check it. It was on the PGA radio, but Oberg has been cut from every major event this year.
Oh,
I got to check that. I got to fact check, but they played it on Sirius XM, so I got to imagine they fact checked it. But I do want to take a look at that. I might look into playing him to miss the cut as a sneaky play. I have not looked into it. I heard it on my way home today, so I will certainly check that out. But yeah, you can find me over at X MMA Jeff 19. As always, we'll have some first strike plays coming out. We're running pretty hot in the last couple of weeks. And we got the Saturday show, which is, I think, at 4 or 4:30 this weekend. So it's a little bit earlier. I think there's only 11 fights on the card, but it should be a decent one. Outright, I think we're going to see some solid plays this weekend. Looking forward to it.
Good stuff. We'll be live betting. We have preseason NFL football popping off here this week. Of course, this will be week 1. We had that little sneaker last week with the Hall of Fame game. Nice cash. I saw you on that, the total. I was on the side. And we're going to give you guys more action here. Jeff mentioned joining us Saturday live, 4 p.m. We'll pop off for this UFC card. We'll give you guys more preseason football should line up on Saturday. We've got Major League Baseball. We've got WNBA. We're just getting started. Get yourselves ready. Have fun playing your golf bets tonight. You can find me at PimSlapPod on X on behalf of the Sports Money crew. Thanks for checking us out. Smash the thumbs up. Hit the notification button. You don't want to miss the content when we drop it. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. Show the support. Appreciate everyone taking the time. Have a great day.